What it is, Daniacs. I channeled Yahweh to pull his commandments for dogs out the ethers, and I'm going to give that to you now, okay? The 10 commandments for dogs from Yahweh. 1, thou shalt circle, but may not lay, while he both circles and lays comfortably. 2, thou shalt sniff, but may not nibble, while he both sniffs and nibbles comfortably. 3, thou shalt kill any who both circles and lays. 4, thou shalt kill any who both sniffs and nibbles. 5, if thou is seen not killing any who both circle and lay, or who both sniff and nibble, he or she, both young and old, shall surely be killed. 6, he who circles may not lay. 7, he who lays may not circle. 8, he who sniffs may not nibble. 9, he who nibbles may not sniff. 10, the great one is the greatest great one. Any who say otherwise shall surely be killed. So saith the great one, who both circles and lays, who both sniffs and nibbles. Trust me, bro. Trust me. You're welcome, motherfuckers.
Hey, kids of the 80s. This is your brain on drugs. Ah! Hey, kids of the 80s. This is your brain on drugs. Ah!
All right, badass. Go ahead and bring me in.
Hey,
X that out.
kids of the 80s. This is your brain on drugs. Ah!
Pause that. X that out. All right. What it is, Daniacs? I am the brightest night. I am the darkest light, and I am ascending, as are we all. Step into Dane's world. The dark light is upon you. So the dark light is everyone. I'm just reminding everyone that we are all the dark light. That is the important part. It's an inside joke. Now you are inside. Our consciousness is the jewel of creation and is the basis for its own reality. A nation's only power is in manipulating its residing co-creators into relinquishing their divine sovereignty unto the state. The state takes the gift of divine sovereignty and offers back only chains of servitude. For that was the intent of the insidious invitation to relinquish your divine sovereignty. As soon as you realize that you have been manipulated into relinquishing your divine sovereignty, you can reclaim it. For just as you let another borrow, you can retake by ownership simply by saying, I am divine sovereignty. It is impossible for the actual one true creator to be attacked, but the broken theology of Abraham can absolutely be attacked. As Abrahamic theology inherently is commanded to attack all who do not capitulate and submit to it. Abrahamic scriptures call for the death of all who do not submit, to it. So when one attempts to defend themselves from followers of Abraham, they call it you attacking them. This is gaslighting to the max. No, Abrahamic theology attacks the world must defend itself from them. To that end, I hereby never propose the alliance of defiance, formulated to defend those who followers of Abraham attack. And often that tends to be themselves because they are cannibalistic. Followers of Abraham are a blood cult of sin worshippers. Yahweh, Jesus, and Allah are desert war gods of hypocrisy, not the actual true creator. The actual one true creator owns all names and words ever spoken. There is no word or name spoken that can possibly be separate from the actual one true creator. He owns all words and names. So moving right along, we have, so I guess there was a miscommunication with the apostate sisters, and that was my bad. Because there's two of them, and I was talking to both of them, but only one of them, was talking back to me, and I accidentally sent the time and date to the one that wasn't talking back to me. I didn't send it to both of them, which would have been the smart thing. So anyway, we had a godless engineer pull out on. It was a big pull-out fest, y'all. It was pull-outs left and right. But so anyway, Brooklyn Lou, thank you, Brooklyn Lou, for doing all the tech for this. And Brooklyn Lou's my buddy. Brooklyn Lou gave me my first ever airtime when he interviewed me on his channel right there. And we are going to come right out the gate and hit him damn, smoke him if you got him. We're going to play a little smoke him if you got him. All right. So just for a minute, I'd like to take a minute to appreciate Mother Nature. Okay. In all its glory. I got an all-natural rule personally, okay? This is cannabis I'm smoking here. And if you'd like to, smoke them if you got them with me. Me and Lou are about to take us a little hit right here. And then we got some subjects to be getting into.
My torch.
Y'all are going to have to give me a minute, too, because I got a big fucking reclaim hit right there. That shit's going to be gnarly.
I don't know about you, Dane, but I've been doing some harsh street weed.
I like for you guys to watch me suck it. I guess I'm a bit of an exhibitionist. What can I say? Fuck it. Hey, if you're good at something, fucking make sure people see you doing it.
Woo!
Okay. It's that kind of show, motherfuckers.
Hey.
Episode 3, the Theology Council is a safe place where people of various and different perspectives can discuss unsafe and controversial topics. And I tried like hell to get some followers of Abraham. I couldn't. Atheists have been the most willing to discuss with me. I thought I was going to have a panel full of atheists. Now, I do have a spiritual lady, Queen Wortham, but she was supposed to be here at 6 because we were supposed to start. I told Lou 6, and he said his 6, not my 6. So we're in different time zones. So I was expecting to have a little bit of time to get ready and stuff, but Lou's like, hey, it's already my 6. So I'm like, all right, I guess it's your 6 then. And here we are. He's got some UFC to watching. What's that? Kamaru Usman and Joaquin Buckley?
No, that's next week. Tonight. Let's see if I remember.
But who's fighting tonight?
With that pot circulating through my brain. It's Jack Della Maddalena tonight versus
okay. That's why it's really hard to remember that guy's name. It's really hard to remember that guy's name. What is? Am I saying it right? Is it Hall?
Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Maddalena. Della Maddalena.
I'm pretty sure it's Hall.
Yeah, and his nickname is say the name.
I'm trolling. I'm fucking with. Of course, I know who it is, but just because he's got a thing about remember the name, I like to intentionally forget his name, just like everyone else. I'm picking on him. Good for you, Bilal. Good for you. You know, not everyone can be champion. Even the great Chael Sonnen couldn't be champion, even though the great Chael Sonnen is the modern godfather of MMA. Would you disagree or agree with that?
Well,
agree or disagree?
I'm gonna flatly disagree.
Okay, who's the modern godfather of MMA?
I say Royce Gracie. But Hoist Gracie might be considered old school. I don't know.
Okay, to me, there's two godfathers. Okay, you have one that's dead and one that's living. The living godfather of MMA is Chael Sonnen. The one that's dead that started MMA is Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee, bruh. Bruce Lee, the real godfather of MMA. And some people really don't like me saying that, but it is what it is.
I saw the first UFC fights, like
live or
ones.
Live?
No, on pay-per-view.
When they first came on, okay.
Yeah, and they were amazing.
Not everyone can say that. Not everyone can say that because I didn't see the very first couple ones. You know, I didn't see the first couple. I had to go back and watch them. You know, after UFC got big a little bit.
Oh, they were amazing because we would watch them in New York, and it was like on this underground stream, you know, and we'd gather together.
That shit was hot, bro.
And watch the UFC because it was really barely legal, you know.
No, I remember that part of it. Yeah, back in the dark ages, they called it. I remember the very first. You remember the very first Ultimate Fighter?
No, I don't even think I watched that series.
Well, the very first one is what saved the UFC. That's the one with Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner. People were calling their friends and neighbors saying, "Tune in." That's before social media, you know. These days on social media, people just be tweeting about it. But back then, you had to actually call a motherfucker. So, but people were calling as the fight was going on. They're like, "Damn, you got to tune into this fight," and that's what actually saved the UFC right there. That and Chael Sonnen helped save it too.
And I hate to say it, but Donald Trump played a role because he was friends with Dana White.
No, you're right. Yeah, he was the very first one to give Dana White a chance.
Yes, and that was a political thing there. And they've been friends ever since. What you doing there?
Okay.
Oh boy.
Watch that.
Oh. Let me do one more bang on this little pipe. Boy, that went out really quick.
Yeah, it's got a way of doing that.
That was better. Ah. Yeah. So
far, followers of Abraham tend to like the idea of personal one-on-one interviews instead of like a big group thing. Because the Theology Council is supposed to be, the idea is to get, I want all the different perspectives possible to come together to talk about things. And right now, everyone's just staying in their own fucking lane, just talking about things with their own people, but no one's crossing lanes and talking about things with different type of people. I mean, maybe a little bit, but very selectively. And I'm trying to cultivate a environment where people can just come in and talk about shit, you know? I'm taking almost anyone. If you're just like a plain ass motherfucker that don't have an opinion about anything, I don't want you, you know? But I want, you know, confident, strong-willed, strong opinion people, mostly for the most part, you know? Like, you can't say that about everyone that comes on, but like everyone doesn't know this, but on my last episode, the girl that came on, Lisa, the lady, I should say, I actually went to school with her, and she was one of my brother's best friend's girlfriend, okay, for a long time. And she just started her own channel and stuff, so she had a great experience from coming on. So I do got some great topics here. I had a whole list of my content itinerary. Got a list. Itinerary sounds more professional, but it's pretty much a fucking list, you know.
Oh my goodness!
Hey, check it out. My favorite. We're just gonna go right to my favorite subject. Okay, paradox and contradiction. Okay, I like to say paradox and contradiction saturate all of creation. That's just like, okay, Gödel's incompleteness theorems, established by Austrian logician Kurt Gödel in 1931, are two fundamental results in mathematical logic that reveal inherent limitations of formal systems capable of arithmetic. Pretty much. So I'm going to read them to you right here. These are the two incompleteness theorems. The first one is, for any consistent formal system that is rich enough to express basic arithmetic, there exist statements within the system that are true but cannot be proven within that system. Okay, no consistent formal system can be both complete, which is able to prove all true statements, and consistent, free from contradiction. And the second incompleteness theorem, which to me sounds like just a different way of saying the first one, is a consistent formal system that can express basic arithmetic that can not demonstrate its own consistency. The consistent formal system cannot prove using its own rules that it will never lead to contradictions. So that's pretty much saying that it's inherently going to have built-in contradiction and inconsistency. And what do you think about that basic point right there?
Woo! I think that my mind is altered, where that just went woo over my head.
No. Well, I mean, I just understand it because I've been looking into it for a little bit, but it's pretty much saying that there's no possible way it can be 100% consistent and free of contradiction. And that's built into mathematics, and mathematics is a lot of people like, it's a colloquialism, but they like to say the language of the universe, you know.
Yeah, I've heard it referred to as that too.
And like I said, that's a colloquial. It doesn't matter what people fucking say, but you know, like all over the you know. So mathematics is what everyone goes by, yet you can't 100% rely on mathematics. Okay, and that kind of leads us into my next point for contradiction, and that is the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, which so in 1927, Werner Heisenberg formulated the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, which is a fundamental concept in quantum mechanics, which states that it is impossible to simultaneously know both the exact position and momentum of a particle with absolute precision. The more accurately one of these properties is known, the less accurate the other can be determined. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle highlights the inherent limitations of measurement at the quantum scale, not due to imperfections in measurement equipment, but because of the particle-wave duality inherent in quantum physics. And so I don't think anything can be 100% known, you know? And I do think paradox and contradiction is baked into the fabric of our creation. And there are levels, there are meta levels to paradox and contradiction. So what do you think about the Heisenberg uncertainty principle?
Well, I think that the laws of logic are true, and I think that using logic is one of the best ways for us to establish what is true. So I am so altered.
Okay, well, I mean that's just like one of my really favorite subjects right there. So, you know, out of all my, I got a nice biggest thing full of ways to use the commandments to disprove that Yahweh and Jesus can possibly be. I'm using this to disprove that Yahweh and Jesus are the one true creator. Yahweh and Jesus are dead war gods of hypocrisy. And I'll say, with all due respect, even though followers of Abraham have killed 100 million people who disagreed with them in the past, collectively together, it probably over that collectively together, 100 million easily. You put the history of Muslims, Jews, and Christians together, they have, and then they wonder, why do you call us a death cult? Why do you call us a blood cult? You know, just because y'all are being kind of tolerant these days, don't mean it's always been like that. You know, just because you guys are coming up with mental gymnastics to justify these scriptures, which justify and call for harming your fellow man, you know, just because you're coming up with mental gymnastics these days for them doesn't mean here in about 50 years, your same people won't be using those same things more literally to oppress and hurt their fellow man, you know? Unless there's a movement, a collective movement to take all these destructive verses out. If you just take all these verses out of the Bibles that call for you to hurt your fellow man, then you're just left with, because there's good stuff in the Bibles, sure, you know, to take all the bad stuff out and leave all the good stuff, you know.
Well, I'm with that. You know what the Thomas Jefferson Bible was, right?
No, I'm not quite sure.
They took a lot of the Bible out that Thomas Jefferson felt was ridiculous, things that were just totally impossible, and then they left the rest in. So you won't have, you know, Jesus walking on water and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but he still wanted the other parts of the Bible.
I did not know that he went through and did his own editorial version. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, the Jefferson.
He's like, yeah, I like it better like this. Because honestly, yeah. I've been kicking that around. It would be a lot of work, and man, that's not a fun thing for me. But I've been kicking that around. Is taking the Torah, the Christian Bible, and the Quran, taking them, editing them, taking all the bad, horrific stuff out of them, and then combining them together. We call it Jukrislam. Jukrislam. It's going to happen anyway eventually. You might as well just rip the Band-Aid off and fucking do it, right? You know, just put all that shit together, call them Jukrislam. That way everyone can get along. And then just that, along with the Alliance of Defiance, which is the alliance of everyone who is aware of the tyrannical and oppressive nature of the scriptures within Abrahamic dogmas. So it just, anyone who is aware of that, we all come together. That there's actually a lot more of us than there are of followers of Abraham. Okay, not everyone bows and capitulates to the broken theology of Abraham like they would like. Okay, and they would like for us to think that they have the greater numbers, when in actuality, the greater numbers is people who are not followers of Abraham. You know what I'm saying? And hey, all we got to do is just kind of look around and come together, and we actually have more numbers, and they fucking realize that and quit being so goddamn bloodthirsty. Right now, all that shit going on in the Middle East, that's the Jews and the Muslims over there trying to start World War III, you know? And in all actuality, World War III has already begun. It's already begun. Us being over there in Ukraine and shit, it's already fucking begun. These are the beginning auxiliary wars, you know, that lead to the full-on global escalations. But That's my conspiracy theory kicking in. But if you check it out, though, that very term conspiracy theory was I forget the guy's name, but he came up with that term specifically to discredit anyone who disagreed with a government narrative. If you disagree with the government narrative, you are a conspiracy theorist.
Well, conspiracy theories can be either true or false. So that's the thing. You got to look into them yourself to figure out what's going on, you know?
Well, check it out. Everything, the world is built upon conspiracy theories, because if you look into the literal definitions of the words, to conspire is anytime a couple of people come together to do something is conspiring. That is so vague and broad that literally you can't do anything without coming together to plan to do it. So literally, we live in a world of conspiracies, you know. So to me, it's not a world of conspiracy theories. It's a world of conspiracy realities, you know. And also, to me, we live in a culture totally saturated with cults. That's why it's called culture.
I like that. Culture.
Yeah, cults can be, you know, relatively speaking, good or bad. Because to me, everything's relative. I don't believe. See, for those who don't know me, I am a non-Abrahamic true monotheist. I was raised as pagan. I spent a while as spiritual, but with spiritual, I didn't feel specific enough. You know what I'm saying? So I started thinking about it, and I'm like, yeah, I do believe in the construct of the one true creator, but I don't come to that through the Abrahamic scriptures, and I have totally different perception about what that even is. Because like I said, I believe we are all the son of God. Because I believe the one true creator is a perfect creator, and with that, everything within creation is perfect. So there is no sin. I don't believe in the construct of sin. I say followers of Abraham are sin worshipers. They want their perception of the one true creator to have all the awe and power of the one true creator, but none of the respect and the mutual humility to the creation. And they show that time and again in the scriptures, the followers of Abraham. So they have twisted the perception of the one true creator, and I'm taking it back. I'm bringing it back. I'm letting people know that there's ways to believe in the one true creator that isn't dominated by the broken theology of Abraham. And now you can learn from it that there's good things in it, but I'm just saying dogmas are there and scriptures are there as a ladder and stepping stone, not as a cage. See what I'm saying? They are there in order to point to the ghost in the machine. So I believe that we are all God, essentially. I believe all consciousness is an extension of the omni-consciousness, I call it. I believe that God is living through our lives, and all light came from the darkness. That is why I am the dark light. Everything's dark light. You know, I called up to Matt Dillahunty the other day, and he had an old guy on with him. And I said, I am the brightest night, I am the darkest light, and I am ascending. You know, and I went on to start talking, and they stopped me right there. They're like, whoa, we gotta evaluate that right there. What do you even mean with that? Is there something wrong with you? Like, you know, they're just trying to make a big deal out of it. I'm like, that's just my intro. I say it everywhere I go. You know, it's my brand. You know, and you know, anytime you've seen me in chat, you know, as soon as I go in a chat, I will drop that, and it's just my intro everywhere I go. Who else is fighting tonight? Do you know? So we got we got the I can't remember his name versus JDM.
Yeah, that's the main event.
Isn't Rose fighting? Is it tonight or next week? Rose, is that next week?
Definitely not tonight. Tonight is Valentina Shevchenko. And,
yeah, Valentina and that other chick. Okay, I think that other chick's gonna beat her, dude. She just kind of got that serial killer look to her, and if you look in her eyes, because I was watching the stare downs, Valentina looks like she had the look in her eye of prey, Prey. Go look at that stare down. Valentina didn't look like her normal confident self, dude.
I know what you mean, and the name of the fighter she's fighting is Farrow from Canada.
She's a foreign chick, and she looks like a serial killer, and she ain't scared at all. She looks like she's hungry, and she wants that belt. And you know what? Valentina could lose that belt tonight and come back and win it again here in a year. But I'm just saying, I would put my money on Farrow. If I had money, seriously, I don't ever bet, but every now and then when I get a really strong sense, if I had money, I would bet it on that foreign girl.
Well, I went the other way. I bet some money on Farrow. I mean, on Shevchenko.
Oh, did you? You actually bet? Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying that I just get a really strong sense when I watch that sit down. Like, I don't usually have money, and I don't usually bet, but if I did, this is the one of the few fights that I'd bet on, and I'd bet on Farrow. So that's funny. Yeah. That's funny. Who else is fighting on the card? Don't we got Jose? Don't we got Jose Aldo fighting?
Jose Aldo. Yeah, Aldo's fighting.
He's fighting some other old timer.
No, he's fighting a young guy.
No, well, he's younger than Jose, but he's not like a brand new guy or nothing. He's kind of a vet too. The guy he's fighting.
He's fighting a guy that's light. I mean, Jose Aldo's like 43 or something like that.
Well, I forget his name, but yeah, he's not like a fresh out of fucking. Yeah, he's not a fresh in the UFC guy. He's got a bunch of fights under his belt too. So, it's kind of a legend versus legend fight. But I don't know. I'm going with the other guy in this one. I don't think Jose is going to do it. I hope he does. This is one I wouldn't bet on. Yeah. This is one I wouldn't bet on. But yeah, I hope Jose gets it. Anytime I bet with my like feelings instead of my intuition, which are two different things, I usually lose. So this is one I wouldn't bet on. This is one really close, I think.
Betting UFC a long time, and it's very difficult to win at UFC betting. And you go up and down. I've been betting it for years, but staying consistent, and even if I'm even, I consider that a win.
So what do you think about the because there is kind of a lack of star issue going on, and there's a couple things that I put my finger on, which is they are more worried about promoting the fucking slapping thing than they are about promoting the UFC fighters. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I can't stand the slapping thing.
Now, I understand that you can't highlight every single one, but I definitely think that there's really good fighters that they're taking on that's falling through the cracks of their promotion system. Let's just put it that way. They latch onto a couple fighters and try to promote the hell out of them, while a handful of other good fighters get through the cracks that didn't get no promotion, and then those couple fighters that they put all their fucking eggs on end up getting beat by one of the guys that should have been promoted beforehand anyway. That you just heard about them just now because they beat that guy. You know what I'm saying? So I think they could be promoting better. Let's just put it that way. They could be promoting their fighters better. It is my opinion as a fan.
Well, at the end of the day, it's entertainment. It's the entertainment business. So just like in that business, they select certain people to invest in terms of promotion and all that stuff. And that becomes the big name fighters, that they're pushing.
All I'm saying is, while they got the cameras up and rolling and stuff, all they got to do is call in a couple extra names as go. While they're doing their film kits, while they're making up their promotion kits for everything, just call in a couple extra people, man. Fuck, Well, let us get to know a couple extra people. I even considered covering all the newest people and trying to research them and stuff. That's a lot of fucking work, but that's something I've considered is just really deep diving into the newest people that come into the UFC, because no one's really doing that,
Yeah, and that's
No one's deep diving into all the new people. I don't know who the fuck all these new people are that's fighting on the prelims and shit. I don't know who none of them are, you know. And I'm putting that off on the UFC about 80%. I'm putting that off on the individual fighters, the rest of the 20%, you know, because you have to help promote yourself too.
Yeah, but I think that the UFC really underpays fighters as a whole. I really think these people are risking their lives. They're
well, they're definitely they are definitely they're trading parts of their health in the future. You know, they're definitely doing that to a degree, more or less. You know what I'm saying? They are trading parts of health in the future, man. And yeah, they should absolutely be getting paid more for their time while they're in the sport, because that money's got to last longer into life than. You know, and we all know UFC is making them costs, the ticket costs, and the goddamn pay-per-view costs are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't believe the fighters who will be at top 15 in the world, and then they have this spectacular fight, and then you realize when you see the pay they got, and maybe it's 50,000 or something. That's
now,
nothing.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they're still on the pay scale from like 10, 15 years ago. You know, inflation has happened since then, Dana. You know, it shouldn't be no 50,000 bonus. It should be a goddamn at least 100,000 bonus, if not a 200,000 bonus. Dana's acting like that would hurt them. Then he turns around and gives $1 million to some fuck ass honky gamblers. You know, he'll turn around and drop $1 million gambling. He'll turn around and give $1 million to what is it, the Nelk Boys or whatever. And let me tell you something about the Nelk Boys, and this is just a theory, but they are asset influencers for the alphabet people. The Nelk Boys, yep. They found out where Dana's son was hanging out and drinking, okay, and they sent the Nelk Boys in there to make friends with Dana's son. I don't know if you know it or not, but that's how Dana knows the Nelk Boys is through his son.
Yeah,
then just all of a sudden, these guys showed up where Dana's son happened to get drunk at all the time. Okay.
Yeah, I've heard of that with the Nelk brothers.
Oh, yeah, the Nelk Boys, and but anyway, and that's his thing. You know, he's made his money; he can do what he wants with it. But don't do that and then turn around and act like you can't pay the fighters more. My basic point is, I'm with you. You should pay the fighters more.
Definitely. I mean, when I was young, I used to train.
No. Not only that, they should have a saving fund specifically for medicals for the fighters, guaranteed for if they retire on good terms with the company.
Yeah, of course.
If you retire on good terms with the company, you should have guaranteed fucking medical. Because you have a lot of the original fighters that came through, built the sport up, who through. You know, or if they can't afford it, they're just draining all the goddamn money they have, and they're just barely getting by just to pay for the damn medical bills. That's bullshit right there.
Yeah,
and they put a body trust so that we could see it being entertained, and then society and the company that brought it all to us turns their back on them. So there's definitely that aspect to it that I think a lot of fighters would agree with. So if there's fighters out there that have had them thoughts right there, just know that the fans are behind you, dude. If the fighters came out and said, God, if all the fighters together said, look, we're going to fight one more fucking fight so we have a guaranteed health insurance plan for when we fucking retire, you cocksuckers. I'm serious. With all contracts that the UFC has right now, if even 3/4 of the fight, or 5/8 or 3/4, okay? If about 5/8 or 3/4 of the fighters would actually do that and say, we're not fighting again until we have a guaranteed fucking health coverage and let's call it 150,000 bonuses, Dana. Instead of this 50,000, let's slap 100 G's on it, nigga. What's up? Let's go, Dana.
I'm with you on that. I do think that Dana should be forking over a lot more money to the fighters. For darn sure. And these
Goddamn
fighters,
sure.
they put their lives on the line. They train like animals. I mean, they study. They're constantly grinding, and they're top athletes in the world. And Dana's cheap with them.
You got to grind it till you find it, and goddamn, you do. Hey, when's it coming on?
What's that?
How much time you got?
Let me see. It's 7 o'clock Florida time. Fights come on at 7:15.
Hey, I'm just letting you know we don't pronounce the I.
What's that?
We don't pronounce the I.
What's the I?
Okay, well, we say it like this. Okay, listen. Florida.
Florida?
Florida. We don't pronounce the I. Okay?
Florida.
Florida. You just keep the I on out of there, okay? You leave the I out because you say Florida, and they know you're a tourist right off the bat, okay? I'm just letting you know. Even if you're a tourist, man, they'll start charging you more, right? If you go in a place saying, we're in Florida, they will charge you more, okay? I'm letting secrets out here now, y'all. I'm letting secrets out. Leave that I out, and you'll get charged less for shit on there in certain spots.
Yeah, because I sound like a New York tourist in Florida.
No, well, your accent is going to give you away anyway. Okay, they're going to know you're not from there just from your accent. But please don't pronounce the I. It hurts me on the inside. That's not how we say it.
Well,
that's like someone Baton Rouge saying, "Don't say Baton Rouge, it's Baton Rouge." You know.
Well, there is that southern country accent, and that's, I guess, what you're describing there. Like Florida and America. They don't say like the AM in America.
No, you're saying that. Check that out. You're saying that wrong too. It's America. You talk about that one? America.
Yeah, America.
Yeah. Well, it's like America. You just take the A's out and you kind of overpronounce the R. It's America. But down Florida, they have a different little. They got a certain little talk that they do down there in Florida. It's what do they call it? It's kind of like a schlang to swang thing now. It's a little talk, dude, and doing it solo is a lot harder. Like when I start getting around them. There's a certain little dialect they have down there that is unique and weird and different from other places. And you wouldn't know it unless you're jalapeno.
Yeah. I know since I've been in Florida, I've seen it depends where you go.
Are you going to take one last suck with me?
Different accents within the state, you know?
Well, I mean, if you're from Florida, you have the same accent. The different accents come in from all the different people that move in from the northern states. That's where all the different accents come in. But if you're from Florida, you do have, like, I don't know. That depends on if you're from Florida in the city or if you're from Florida in the country. Because there are some people that, because you don't got to go far. You can be all up in the straight up ghetto urban area. And as soon as you leave that, it's not too far before you're up in some thick ass woods. You know, the woods ain't far from any damn city in Florida. So there's actually hillbillies and fucking gangsters in very close proximity to each other. But they like the gangsters stay in the hoods and the hillbillies stay in the woods. You know. But also Florida is very integrated. Okay. The very low racism in Florida, And I'll tell you that as someone that's from there. It's a very low racism. You got people from Cali. Just leave the racism in Cali. Any Cali people moving to Florida, just leave the racism there in Cali, okay? Because we're not like that in Florida. You can be different colors and chill with each other, not make a big damn thing about it in Florida, okay? So you just leave that shit in Cali. So Cali people get pissed when I bring that up. Like, I told Cali people, yeah, Florida people ain't nearly as racist as y'all. And they're like, fuck you, honky. I'm like, yeah, that's what I mean.
I've lived in Cali too. I've lived in Cali, lived in Florida and New York.
Hey, and while we're on this subject, I know I look white, but I'm not just white. I'm half black, I'm half red, I'm half brown, and I'm half white, okay? 4 halves make a whole. You call me Chief Dark Brownie Cracker, goddammit.
4 halves make 2 holes.
No, 4 halves make a whole because I'm transnumeric, okay? I love the trans people. The trans people freed me. FREED. They freed the fuck out of me. It was like the red pill with Neo in the Matrix, like the red pill, man. But the thing is, you can transcend any social construct, not just gender. You can. We've had this talk. I am omnitrans. I'm coming out. I've said it before, but I'm fucking omnitrans. This is something I wanted to talk to Godless Engineer and the Apostate sisters about. But whatever, we can have that talk later or whatever. You know, I'm omnitrans. Thanks to you transgender people. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Now, I got to ask, what is omnitrans?
Give me 1 second. I got to heat this bitch up. All right. Are you taking a hit with me, or are you just gonna watch me?
No,
you're gonna watch me.
I'm still like a fried egg. Oh boy.
So to all the theists, to all the atheists, to all the in-betweeners, to all the spiritualists, coming out with me, motherfuckers. The Theology Council, man. I'm trying to get everyone together to talk about some shit, bro. Let's go. Don't be scared. You know, I ain't trying to be like intentionally unhinged, uncensored. Well, I'm going to be uncensored regardless, but I'm not intentionally unhinged, okay? I'm trying to get people on that I like, actually. That way I start off on a good foot with them energy-wise, because the person and the dogma is different, okay? But a lot of people, Christians, they personalize the dogma to such an extent that they really identify that as part of their personality. You know what I'm saying? The dogmas. So to them, they get super personal about it because they're so closely glued with their personality to the identity that they think that they should have based on what they read in the Bible. And there's good things in the Bible, sure, but those good things don't matter when there's horrific fucking things in there that you just kind of gotta accept along with it, you know? Those good things don't make a fuck then, but you know, you take them bad things out, then them good things actually mean something, you know? That's just my basic suggestion. And I'm sorry, y'all, because I meant to have widescreen on this. I tried. I don't know what the fuck was going on. Me and Brooklyn Lou tried a few times to get that widescreen right there, you know? Hold on 1 second real quick, because in case you're still a little unclear about what I think God is, I just want to give a quick breakdown about what I think God is. Earlier, before, I kind of just gave something off the top, but I got some pre-written shit down between right there. and right here. Because I know you got to go here in a minute. Okay, so the attributes of what I call what you could call God basically is unity and balance, consciousness, dark and light, and divine sovereignty is the inalienable connection to the actual one true creator. Souls are not a commodity for barter. The soul is the inseparable link between the creator and the co-creator, or the creator and creation, however you want to say it. So I have some different proofs of unity right here, which is the light and dark continuum. Okay, is a proof of unity. So all light begins and ends in the darkness. Darkness created the light. Darkness loves the light. Darkness is the physical property or mechanism which connects all light. Okay, and that's why I call it that brings me right into this, the fractal singularity omnimatrix. Okay. So fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across all scales, from micro to macro. Examples of which of the pattern. Okay, these are examples of the fractal pattern. Okay, these aren't infinitely compounding themselves. You know, like a root doesn't infinitely compound into a root, but okay, so the things are roots, lightning, coastlines, snowflakes, mountains. These are all the same growth pattern. Okay, it's the same pattern, not an infinitely compounding coastline. Even though there is a paradox there, if you look into the coastline paradox, look into that, because a big thing of mine is looking into different paradoxes and shit. So, continuing, a singularity is the quality or state of being singular. A matrix is the set of conditions that provides a system in which something grows or develops. The set of conditions is the fractal singularity, which provides the system of creation, which could be called the Godhood. The Godhood is the singular state of God infinitely compounded to render every possibility and probability. So that is just, you know, when I sit there and think about it, like my basic definings, and people ask me, what can or can't my God do, or my perception of God. The only thing my perception of God, and I've thought about it, can't do is can't produce an imperfect creation. But I also, people say, what about all this fucked up shit? You call that perfect? And I'm like, yep, that's all. If it is, it's perfect. So I kind of have it all-compassing, kind of spamming definition of perfect, you know? That kind of fucks people up. They're like, oh, you're trying to have your cake and eat it too. I'm like, well, it's my fucking definitions. I can do what I want with them. That's why it's the dark like delirium, goddammit. It's my delirium. It's my Kool-Aid. Y'all can't have none. I'm drinking my own Kool-Aid, but, you know, I'll let y'all sniff it. I'll let y'all sniff that shit, you know? But hey man, thank you very much, Brooklyn Lou.
As long as your Kool-Aid is your Kool-Aid, I'm with you.
Yeah. Hey, oh wait, hold on. I got some funny stuff here. Some stuff that separates me from other theists. Okay, there's definitely some big difference between me and other theists. Okay, I admit that all perceived divinity is imaginary friends for adults. Not very many theists admit that. I'm okay with that. Okay, I'm fine with that, because I think everything is imaginary and in your fucking head anyway. So I'll do with my imagination what I want. Thank you. Okay, all words and names ever spoken are the words and names of God. All morality, and I can go farther and I say truth. I say all truth is subjective. I know there's a whole argument there, a lot of pushback I get with a lot of people. But why I say that all morality, and because truth itself is a concept. of a mind perceiving something. You know what I'm saying? Truth is meaningless without the mind observing it. You know what I'm saying? That is why I say that there is no truth that is separate from subjectivity. So you can say that there is objective truths, and I would agree with there is objective truth, but I would put a caveat on that. But there is objective truth only as far as there is a subjective mind to empower that objective truth. You see what I'm saying? Otherwise, it doesn't fucking matter. It just is. I don't believe in sin and evil. I believe in mistake and bad. I believe that we are all God if God is a perfect creator. Because if God is a perfect creator, then inevitably every creation he produces is perfect. That's why I say all of creation is perfect. Whatever is there is perfect. It's creation. And that's why people are like, what about all these bad things? And I'm like, well, everyone has a certain level of control over their own life through their perception, through their actions, mostly through their actions, but perception is the ignition to action. I believe in reincarnation, so God is living through every moment of our lives. And if you believe in two separate kingdoms, the light versus the dark, you are not a true monotheist. And that is the Christians and the Muslims. That's why I say that the Jews are the only true monotheists left within the followers of Abraham. Okay. So I know you're about to have to roll. So is there anything you'd like? What you got going on, man? I'm sorry. I know I went on with myself there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go watch the fights. Hopefully, your religion will get off the ground soon.
well, it's not even. I wouldn't call it a religion. It's just a perception. Because I don't believe in dogmas. That's what I'm saying. And religion requires dogma. So I don't even like the term religion. That's why I like the Theology Council. I'm trying to get people of different perspectives to all give their perspective on all kinds of different issues, and that will help all the viewers. All the viewers watching. Seeing people coming together that really care, trying to work out issues, that's something that the world doesn't have. That's something that the world needs. And I don't bite y'all. Come on now. As long as you be decent with me, I'll be decent with you. And even if you come at me sideways, that's fine. I won't silence you. I won't kick you out like you guys do to me. I'm talking to some of the atheist shows. The atheist shows like to silence you a lot and kick you out and not let you get your full point out. I promise everyone can get their full points out. This is long form, okay? No time limits on stuff, but also no bullying. I will act as a moderator if someone tries to bully and dominate time or something stupid like that. But generally, everyone's going to have a turn, and everyone can say exactly what they want on every single subject, okay? And when we go around the table, if you got more to say, you say it. If someone next to you doesn't have anything more to say, then they can just skip their turn, and it will keep going around. And we're done with that subject. Then we'll go on to the next subject, I'm really trying to get honest conversations going on here because I find that in the theology space, everyone's just staying in their own lanes, not really trying to have honest conversations amongst a bunch of different types of people. It seems to be like anyone you don't agree with, you don't want to talk to them, and that's not how it should be. It's everyone should talk to each other, and you'll see that we're all human. Just because someone disagrees with you, and maybe talking to them will help some of that. I think the more people talk about it, the less people will die about it. To put it to a long story short,
and I like that. And
to put a nice bow on it. Long story short, to wrap it up, basically, just the more we talk about it, the less people got to die about it. The less people will be manipulated about it. On my neck is American Patriot. Defiance of tyranny is obedience to freedom. On the back is give me liberty or give me death. It is on a police shield. Okay. And that brings me to something else I wanted to talk to, which is law. Okay. Everyone empowers the law of their own consciousness and enforces that around themselves. to their ability. Okay, and law is relative, dependent upon the ability of those around to enforce that law, the will and the ability, because you got to have both. Just having the ability, you got to have the will and the ability to enforce the law, because okay, laws aren't true laws anyway. Those are rules and regulations that states use. Laws, they like it to sound all undeniable and mighty. That's not a true law. A true law cannot be broken. Okay, a true law cannot actually be broken, such as the only true laws are the actual natural laws of science. Those are the only true laws, in my opinion. Okay, besides that, it's all rule and regulations, and it's all might equals right. Whoever has the will and the ability to enforce their will over others will do so. In manipulation form and physical form, one way or another, and that is something that the world needs to look out for. Another thing I wanted to talk about really quick, because I know we got to go, is that the elites are trying to use divide and conquer through religion right now. Okay, I saw this coming before the election. Everything I've seen since and after the election has confirmed it. And although everyone has their differences, I would like to keep in mind that we're all still American and that we all still love freedom, you know? And they are trying to incite a civil war among America. It is what's happening. It's slow. You have China that owns all kinds of land in America. That's something I wanted to mention to bring awareness to. Bill Gates and China own most of the farming land in America, besides all the small private owners, which is getting less and less every year. All the small private owners are getting less and less, and you got Bill Gates and China buying up all the farmland in America. That's not a good thing. And you might think, hey, Bill Gates is American. Yeah, but he doesn't have American interests at heart. He is an elitist. You know, I don't trust Bill Gates personally. If you do, that's on you, but I do not. I make decisions based on the future proliferation of my possible lineage, you know, and trusting Bill Gates does not go along with that. He is on tape saying that his number one hope for combating the problem of overpopulation is his vaccines. Okay, and he would that's where he left it. He didn't quite say my vaccines are going to take people out. He left it a little vague right there, but there is tape of him saying exactly that. He said the number one hope of curing the problem of overpopulation is vaccines. On fucking tape, dude. He said that. And then you got all these people, oh, what problem do you have with Bill Gates? I'm like, it's the problem that if someone wants to kill me, then I generally have a problem with them. I don't care why. Because they don't care why either, apparently, because they don't even know me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, what you got for me? I know you got a gold nugget for me.
Got somewhere. A last minute guest.
Oh,
we have the Queen.
Whoa!
There's the Queen. How you doing?
What's up, Queen? How you doing today, ma'am?
Can she hear you?
Everyone, this is Queen Wortham. I've been talking to Queen Wortham for about a year now. I've been watching her for her channel for about a year. And you can find her at Queen Wortham on YouTube. Can you tell us about your theological perspective and perception, please?
Explain my theological perception. Is that what you said?
Or perspective? Yeah, yeah. Just what you think about spirituality or whatever, your connection to it, your history, with religious or spirituality or whatever. Because okay, well, you just came on, so I'll give it to you again. So because I don't know if you're watching or not, but I was raised as pagan, and and it was a very loose pagan. It wasn't like old school pagan. My mom was raised Jehovah's Witness, and she was kicked out when she was 18 because she was just different and studying stuff and rebellious and stuff. And she just kind of started studying everything. And she had kids when she was like 21 or something. So she was just newly into being out of that cult. If you know, you know. But okay, we already had the talk about cults, but I think all society is saturated in cults anyway, and cults are detrimental, and some cults aren't so detrimental in my perspective. But so I claimed spiritual for a long time, and I was thinking about it. Like, spiritual is not quite accurate enough. I want something more accurate, and what I settled on still isn't quite accurate enough, but it's closer, which is non-Abrahamic true monotheist. I believe in the construct of the one true creator. Okay. I don't come to it through Abrahamic scriptures or dogmas. Like I said, I was pagan. I was spiritual. I've done a lot of mushrooms and LSD and DMT. But before I did the DMT, I was already circling into I believe in the construct of the one true creator. Okay. But I have totally different perceptions about it. Like, I just recently read off what I think God is. Did you catch that?
Yes, I was listening to that.
Okay. So we got that. So pretty much, I think every consciousness is an extension of the omni-consciousness, which some call God, and God is living through our lives. And I think everything. Okay, I believe in infinite universes, and all it takes. Okay, the speed of light. That is actually the pressure of darkness, okay? And all you have to do is change that slightly in your different universe, the speed of light. And it's like tuning into different frequencies on a radio. And you're doing that with the speed of light. As soon as you start changing that frequency, you're in different universes. That's just a theory, you know, but also another theory that I wanted to talk to you about is that mycelium, okay, it was an early revelation that all things are connected. That's kind of like a early revelation for a lot of things, but you start thinking about it and you're like, okay, but connected by what? What is the physical mechanism connecting all things? And I thought about it, and I was on mushrooms at the time, but I had a revelation is mycelium connects all living things, okay? And if you study biology, you'll see that in the guts of all creatures is mycelium, okay? And I think that is the actual seat to the soul, is the mycelium. A lot of people think it's in the brain or in the heart or something. But anywhere there's mycelium, that is the actual anchor that is holding the thread of our soul to the other dimensions. So that's just a little bit about me. What about you?
Yeah, we'll have to talk more about the mycelium thing, because I've heard some things about mycelium, but not exactly that.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much just it. Like, I think that mycelium is the anchor of the source of life that is animating all things, the breath of life, some might say. Mycelium is the physical mechanism that is allowing the breath of life to animate and activate living things.
Yeah, that's well, I want to give a introduction of what my theology is, but is there mycelium in space? Is there mycelium in outer space?
Well, there's spores.
There are?
There's damn sure spores. Have you heard of panspermia? Panspermia is it was a theory for a long time, but it's been proven recently. It's been like actually scientifically proven. It was a theory that spores, because spores can exist in the conditions of space, that spores actually are on comets and shit that falls to planets, and there's a theory that all spores just get on some of these rocks and cross the cosmos, and sometimes fall on a planet where it's got an environment that is hospitable to it, where it can live, and sometimes it don't, you know, but it doesn't have to on every single one. It just has to on the ones that allow it. And these spores are so prolific on the rocks and comets that fall to planets that it's pretty much guaranteed that at some point, some of these spores are going to, if there's a planet that is hospitable to life, there's going to be some of these spores that eventually grow in that life, you know. So yeah, and there's actually recent confirmation of that old theory.
Yeah, that may have something to do with a question I have between,
but
like,
but check it out. If you think about it further, I think there's because okay, physical mycelium, I call that light mycelium. That's actual visible and tangible mycelium. I think that is a refraction of dark mycelium, which is intangible, and that's a part of the spirit realm. That's just a theory, but I don't know if that is going in the direction of where you're going. But take it from there.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it may have something to do with a question I have about what makes life as we know it life, because I see so much that life continues. Life continues after death, and then there's also this whole alien thing. That, like, aliens can travel between frequencies, and they have the technologies to travel in between frequencies.
Well, see, the thing is, so do we. We have it biomechanically.
I know.
Yeah.
And so, but that helps to explain, like, how they are here, but we can't see them. But then spirits are also here and we can't see them. And it's a matter of frequency. And but the mycelium thing may have something to do with the difference, the difference between something that is literally physically manifested and something that is not literally physically manifested. But what you just said is another, I don't know. It's very interesting. It's a new idea to me, and I'd be interested.
This is just because I've thought about this a lot, but I think there's a dark mycelium, and there's light mycelium, but there's also now there's digital mycelium also. With all the computers going on, with all the signals being sent around, and that didn't used to exist before until we started sending all these waves around. And once again, it's just a fucking theory.
Yeah.
But I think I'm onto something. I really do. That there's a digital mycelium also, but that's just the digital world is taking the growth structure of the mycelium growth, which is what everything does. So it's just mimicking which is part of the fractal reality. Because I call it a fractal singularity omnimatrix is what I call it. And so. What do you think about that, Brooklyn? Come on, Brooklyn, you got something for us. You're holding it in because he doesn't believe in none shit.
I was gonna say I'm an atheist. I don't believe in anything.
Yeah. So is he just losing you? Because I'm totally following him. Like I've studied enough.
Well, see, I was supposed to have 4 atheists show up today. I was supposed to have Godless Engineer, but he's on all kinds of call shows. Now I thought I was supposed to have the Apostate Sisters, but there was a communication breakdown or something. Real quick, what happened was I was talking to both of them on Facebook, and one of them was talking back to me, and the other one really wasn't. And because she was talking to me, it's not like I was blowing her up or anything. I just sent her a couple of messages, but I forgot to send both of them the message of May 10th at 6 o'clock. I only sent the one that wasn't talking to me that message. And so the other one didn't get that message. It was totally on me, but like she was excited about it and stuff, but I didn't give her the date technically because I went back and checked it out. I'm like, I swore I gave her the date, but I ended up giving it to the sister that wasn't talking to me. So, I mean, I'm a fucktard. So because of that, Godless Engineer talks to those ladies, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not coming on because that's kind of shady and fishy. You're saying that they're going to come on, and they didn't even know what the fuck you're talking about." I'm like, no, it's just that I'm a little bit of a retard, man. Sorry, I'm a fucker guy. But I mean, I do have. Do you know what a fucktard is?
Yeah, I've got a pretty good idea. It's not a word I usually use, but yeah, I've got a pretty good idea.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, I have a very good idea, but why don't you tell me what you think first?
Okay, let's get back to the first question.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Which was what?
Which was you wanted me to explain my theology, basically what I.
Yes, go ahead.
So, very much in line with what you were talking about before. I believe in a consciousness that runs through everything. I see, like, scientifically, what I believe matches up with what can be explained in science, and what I believe is that God is this consciousness is in the space of the atoms. So you know how an atom is 99.9999% space. Okay? So when what we're looking at is we're looking at what we call solid, but it's actually just something that is vibrating at a frequency that we are able to see. And all of these atoms of air, these atoms of, that are like elements and all
Everything.
the creation around us, that they are actually just a tiny, tiny, tiny little percentage of what we're actually seeing. And then we only have the capability to perceive through our senses. And all of our senses are just different ways of perceiving that frequency. And there are obviously so many ways to perceive frequency, whether it's through machines or abilities that animals have, that, that's like totally accepted. That, like, there are many other frequencies that are present that that for the most part, we cannot sense it, or we cannot.
Well, there's many levels to everything.
Yeah. So what I believe is that consciousness is in the space of the atoms, and that you can actually tune in with it. And
okay, more specifically, what part of the atom?
The space.
Because you talk about the emptiness.
Yes, the emptiness. Yes, the emptiness.
Okay.
The void.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I agree.
Yes.
I'm with you, and I agree.
Yes. So
all right, go ahead.
So I've always believed in God. I've always had like a strong feeling of connection with God ever since I was a little girl. I've always had like little, kind of when I was younger, it was few and far between, but I had many mystical experiences that confirmed for me that there was something bigger, something that I couldn't see, something that was pulling the strings, that it was just a sense, like very much a sense. And so, I started meditating 16 years ago as a way to tune in with that intelligence, as a way to tune in with God. So instead of praying, I was just listening, just being silent and listening. And after a while, I started, to get like feelings of knowing, or feelings of like visualizing things. And I was always really fascinated with like psychic phenomena or near-death experiences, like anything that had that kind of vibe to it. I was always really fascinated with it.
See, Joe, is it Joe Dispenza. Joe Dispenza. What I like about him is he brings actual legit ass scientists with him on some of his retreats to take actual scientific measurements of stuff. And like all these Jesus people like to talk about modern day miracles, but Dr. Joe Dispenza actually has modern day miracles that have nothing to do with Jesus, but they don't like to talk about that. See what I'm saying? Because if you like believe enough in any faith, there's miracles in every faith. You know what I'm saying? And it's so funny how Christians like to lean on that so hard. Oh, but we have these miracles that were half-ass verified, but every damn faith has miracles. I'm sorry, I was going off topic a little bit there.
Yeah. Well, but yeah, it's on topic too, because I was going to get to Joe Dispenza, but yeah, he shows in his research scientifically what's happening when people are having these miraculous experiences, when they're having visions of God, when they're having encounters with spiritual beings. and when they are healing spontaneously, you know, all of these things are happening and they're all documented at the retreats. And he is measuring their blood. He's measuring what's going on with their brain. And he's doing it all week. He's measuring the energy in the room, you know. And so and what's so cool about it is that he charged enough money from the retreats from the beginning that he had people there from the beginning who had money, and they were having these miraculous experiences. And he started asking for donations for his science research. And he's ended up being able to create a study on meditation and on mystical experiences that is hundreds of times bigger and hundreds of times more funded than anything has ever been before.
I didn't know that.
So it's to the point that when he travels, he has to travel like he basically has to be surrounded by security guards. And he's the most humble man in the world, but like his life is threatened because the truth that he's bringing is just incredible. And he actually has a lot of atheists that are his followers because it's so scientifically backed. And they just want the peace. You know, they just want the peace. They just want the understanding. And he teaches it in a way where he uses the language of science. He doesn't use the language of
I know. No, I've totally seen him. Like, I'm right there with you, homie. You want to plug your channel and what you do or anything?
Yes. I am Queen Wortham, and my YouTube channel is Queen Wortham. I'm Queen Wortham on all platforms, and I am a spiritual transformation coach. And almost every one of my clients are devout meditators. So they're people who are already on the path of spiritual awakening. They're the best people in the world to work with. And sometimes I act as a therapist. Sometimes I act as a psychic. Sometimes I act as a energy healer. And I just give them whatever they need for their particular problem. I do a lot of coaching with people who are going really deep in meditation, because with Joe Dispenza's meditation specifically, they're so powerful, and the path that he proposes that you follow is so intense that people who have had, you know, just an average amount of trauma in life, if they dive into that really deeply, very quickly, then they start to have all kinds of side effects, you know, like mental, emotional, physical side effects. But they're very typical, and they're very understandable when you understand what's going on.
You mean beneficial? You mean beneficial side effects, right?
No, not like things like it's like one of the things that happens physically, for example, is a detoxing. And so it's like you are getting your vibrations so high, and you're running new amounts of energy through your system. You're also letting go of ideas that, you know, that like of hating people, the ideas that made you hate people, ideas that made you hold on to resentment. You're like letting go of all of these things that were just part of your mental makeup, and whatever's going on with your mental makeup is also going on with your physical makeup, because there are, you know, there's a flood of hormones that happens with every single emotion. Every thought releases some kind of, you know, just a flood of cocktail of hormones, enzymes, and your body becomes addicted to that and is used to having those things inside of it. And then when you start flooding your body with a completely different set of hormones, then you have like a detoxing. So people will have huge lymphatic swelling. When I first started doing this work very, very deeply, I got a rash that started right here and it went all the way down to my legs, and it was there for 4 months. It was just itching, peeling, like it was awful. It was awful. It was like I just had a permanent sunburn for 4 months.
Like you metamorphosized.
Yeah. And so, but I knew enough, you know, I'd been doing a lot of research, and I knew enough to understand, like, these are ascension symptoms. You know, I'm just changing so quickly, and my body is offloading all of these toxins.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, you know, it's really a lot. And so that's what I help people with. And in the past, I was an art teacher. That's what I did professionally for years. Oh, it's a
Now I
professional.
am an artist, but never professional. But I'm a damn good artist. I
Are
love
you?
drawing. Yeah, well, I just haven't had the space to have an art table for years. This is the first time we've really talked. We've sent messages a little bit here and there for like at
Mhm.
least a year, you know.
Yeah.
But it's everyone what you thought about because I had her go check out my I have 2 videos labeled meditation. I don't really like that label for it. I call it more ascension acceleration is a better label for me personally.
Mhm.
But I had you go check that out. I don't know if you watched the whole thing or
Oh
anything,
yeah, I
but
did. Yeah, I did. That was one of the early
I mean that was about a year
experiences.
ago. That was about a year ago.
Mhm.
But since then I've dropped some really good ones too. I don't know if you've watched any of my newer ones, but
No, I have
um,
not.
yeah. So people that don't know what I'm talking about, like, could you pull that up, Lou, real quick? Could you pull something up?
From where?
Let's go to the shorts. I got some on the shorts that'll just give people a general idea.
Let me get something.
Oh, is Lou your right-hand man? He's got he's got everything ready to go.
Well,
Not
I do not have the technological capabilities to run my own shows. So for my first 3 shows, a guy named codename Witch Doctor, codename Witch Doctor was helping me run my first 3 shows on the tech side. Now this takes a lot of trust because I got to give him all the information to all my accounts. So that takes a lot of trust. But
Mhm.
Lou's actually the first
Wow, let
person.
me-
He's not some guy off the street. He was actually the first person to give me airtime ever on YouTube. He did a interview of me for his channel. Lou goes out and talks to a lot of people that a lot of other people don't or wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Lou will go out there. That a Tangelo guy. He's kind of banned among a lot of the atheist circles and stuff. Seriously. And Lou had him on his channel. Lou just had this guy. What is it? Truth Over Tea. The guy at Truth Over Tea, which is a Christian guy on his channel, which you can tell that Lou definitely disagrees with him. You know, he just did a interview with that guy, and so that's what I like about Lou. I'm trying to. I was trying like hell to get some followers of Abraham to join me tonight, and that's like pulling teeth because I'm straight up with them. It's not like I'm not trying to blindside anyone. You know, yeah, I will send them some of my videos and tell them what I feel about their religion first. You know, I'm not trying. If I was trying to blind someone, I probably could have got them on, but I'm not trying to have that energy. You know, I'm trying to have an honest conversation.
Yeah.
So because the thing is, I don't want them to gaslight and act like they're the victims because it's in their scriptures that anyone that opposes their scriptures must die, and they have to publicly account for that. And what I'm calling for is for them to publicly and culturally disavow that the handful of scriptures within their dogmas that call for and justify harming your fellow man. You know, and if you know your scriptures, you know that shit's in there. You know what I'm saying? A half-assed follower might try to say, "Oh, there's nothing like that in there," but you know, let's not play games. We all know it's in there if you know your scriptures at all, and it's for all of them: the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims. So, Lou, let's go to the shorts real quick, and we're just gonna play a quick little clip of I don't like calling it tongues. That's what the Christians call it. That's not what I do. You know, I'm just doing my own thing. Actually, because I've been tripping on mushrooms and acid since I was 14, and I've been doing this shit for years. And I like to say that the mushroom taught me this. Okay, scroll down just a tiny bit. Are we on the shorts? No, that's on the videos right there. Go to the shorts. All right. The one right up there at the very top, all the way to the right. Yep. All the way to the right. Yep. Let's just hit that one up right there, right quick. It's not too long. All right, that's good. They get the point. They get the point. There's a bunch of that. There's a whole bunch of that.
So had you experienced that before and on other occasions before you decided to film it?
Yes, yes. Filming it is that's why I started filming it. You know, because that's part of learning from the experience. Because I think you don't learn as much as you could from the experience unless you film it. You know, and well, not only that, but I'm just doing me. My channel is a vlog channel. You know, this is how I roll. This is how I get down. And
be right back. I gotta put my dog out.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, could you bring us up full screen? No, but thank you, Lou. Yeah, my channel is just a vlog channel. I do everything wrong as far as YouTube is concerned because I'm supposed to just talk about one thing. That would drive me fucking crazy, just talking about one thing, you know? So just whatever I'm interested in. And it's less than 10 things that I really post about. So it's not like an infinite amount of things, but it's just the stuff I'm really interested in. I design and make swords. I got hundreds, if not over 1,000. No exaggeration. Not just swords, but kinds of different weapons. I have personally designed about 30 of them, but that's how I know I got hundreds of them at least, because while I was designing them, I knew of all the different stuff I could do off the designs I had and the designs I didn't even draw up that were in my head. You know, just I don't know what it is. And if you look at my videos, you can see there's plenty of videos where I'm playing with some of the swords I designed, and those are just cutouts of them. That's not like the actual thing, but that's just the design. So that's one of the things. I want to make them to sell out of wood and metal. I met a family that did that, which is what gave me the idea. Out here in Arkansas, there's a lot of people that just get creative building stuff. Whatever they're interested, whatever their hobbies are. But a lot of people get creative out here just to make money. And this family used to go to all the different Renaissance fairs. And I'll tell you the company is called Hollow Earth. You can look them up on Facebook. I don't think on YouTube. They might be on YouTube, but I know they're definitely on Facebook. They're called Hollow Earth, and you can look them up. But they do custom swords, but they also do just like all the plain typical swords. And they have a big old live action role playing get together every single December on the very first weekend of December, and it's a 3-day thing. And they got a big old wooden fort. And when I say wooden fort, I mean it's a bunch of different wooden buildings attached together to make it a big old courtyard. It's actually a big old wooden fort, and it's got towers on it and everything. And they'll be shooting arrows. It's all wooden, and they're playing. It's a family thing. They have kids out there. They had about, I don't know, that year, and they said it was really light on people that year, but that year they had about 20 people guarding the fort, but that's counting all the kids. All the kids were on Team Gleamwood, and they were the ones defending the fort. Then Team Thornhaven was attacking the fort, and they only had about 5 to 7 people. And the first day I was with Team Gleamwood, but I quickly found out that if I wanted to smoke weed, I had to go to the other team. So because there was no kids on the other team, you couldn't smoke weed in a fort where you're surrounded by kids, So I got on the other team, and god damn, that is the best weed I've ever had my whole fucking life. It was purple. It was autoflower. They grew it themselves, And goddamn, dude, and I'm not joking. One hit off this stuff, and it was guaranteed every single time. I passed out. I literally blacked out off of one hit every single time. And this was just flower. This was hands down the most potent flower I've ever smoked. Shout out to what are they called? Hollow Earth is the name of the company. So anyway, they inspired me to design swords. So they had this knife fight contest, right? And whoever won the knife fighting contest, they said that you got to design your own sword and they would build it for you. They fucked up when they said that everyone is dead. I killed everyone. Knife fighting contest. It was with a fake knife, a wooden knife. They provided all the weapons, because that's what they did for a living, was make weapons. So this fort had like a full-on arsenal, So if someone showed up, and also everyone had to be period dressed, so you didn't have no modern clothes. And if you didn't bring modern clothes with you, they had a couple trunks full of period clothes you could choose from. So it was a really cool thing. I want to go back there one year with my own weapons built to fight them with my own designed weapons, And I've been wanting to do this for years, is make my own weapons out of the metal and wood, but I just haven't had the money to my shop and stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've been going on and on with myself. Let's talk about you. That's what's up with you.
Yeah, well, I wanted to talk a little bit about that DMT trip that was on the short just now, because that was those two things were the first thing.
That wasn't a DMT trip.
I thought it was.
Well, I mean, I have never admitted to smoking DMT on my channel before, but I guess I'm going to have to now. Okay, not all the videos where I'm doing the tongues, not all of them did I smoke DMT, but that particular one I did. Okay.
So all right.
I'm letting you know, just because of the legality, I have never admitted to smoking DMT on my channel before. You kind of forced me into a hole. I want to lie to you about it, but yeah, that particular video, yes, I take a big old blaster right before it.
Mm-hmm.
But don't think that every single one on my channel that I did, because I definitely didn't. Probably 90% of the ones on my channel, but where I'm speaking in my own way, I haven't done it. So I don't want people thinking that I do that every time or I need it for it or something, because I totally don't. Like, I've done it to the point where I don't need it, but if I want an extra little something, so a little kickoff, I might take a little hit. Actually, I got a friend that's going to be me some shrooms, and I'm damn sure going to be enjoying me some shrooms here soon.
Mm-hmm.
Just between me and you, and I want to normalize that as a medicine, because that is actually plant medicine that modern pharma has tried to demonize. Okay, did you know that pharma has been trying to make a pill that replicates psilocybin and psilocin? Okay, that is because psilocybin and psilocin together in combinations is the only thing on the planet that has been proven to regrow brain cells.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. Psilocybin and psilocin help your brain regrow, and that's new neural pathways, new ways of thinking. I'm a big proponent of microdosing. Microdosing would eliminate probably 80% of the chemical pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
People just started microdosing on medicinal magical mushrooms, because you got to go into it with intent. You can abuse mushrooms. You totally can. You want to do it the right way with the right energy. You got to control your setting. You don't ever want to feel pressured into doing a psychedelic situation. Okay. My mom let me I know I've told Lou this before, but I was allowed to trip since I was 14. My mom was there the first time or two, but she definitely wasn't there every time because she was working a lot, and it definitely helps to have someone with you there all the time to guide you through, because shit can get pretty scary when you're deep in a trip,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not quite sure what the fuck's going on. Sometimes you really need someone to be right there and be like, "Hey, man, that's cool. Chill out."
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, don't worry. The floor's not about to eat you, bro. Chill out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I answered your question or not, but
Well, I didn't really have a question yet. I wanted to start talking about it, but then you wanted to make sure to say that that it's not always the DMT. But what I wanted to say,
okay, so go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that, I'm really sensitive to energy. I have allowed energy to move through me. I know that, I like when after I had what I call my spiritual awakening, and I felt, I felt the old energy leaving my body, the old stuck energy leaving my body. And because I knew what was going on and I wanted it to leave my body, what I experienced looked and sounded a whole lot like what was going on your video.
So you were in something like that?
Yeah. Like it's something that, not so consistently, more just like a moment of it.
Sporadically or something?
Yeah, more sporadically. Yeah. But definitely, like I've been in what felt like altered states, altered spiritual states. And so, and then in addition to that, there's just a general sensitivity to energy that I feel all the time. And when I watched that, I just felt how legitimate it was, that like you were really having a spiritual experience, and you really were allowing something to move through you. You were opening up and allowing something to move through you.
Yeah.
And it was speaking in tongues, but then when you would speak English, like the few times that English would come out, it would just be this beautiful truth that would come out of your mouth, you know? And so,
well, actually, if you go back and watch, that whole session right there, because that was a little clip from it. I got some shorts of it, and then I have a couple smaller clips right next to it on my videos list. So the full thing about 45 or 50 minutes or something. So if you go on there, actually, I've been starting my vocal journey. I've been starting my go to the regular videos. I've been starting my vocal journey lately, and I've had my very first professional vocal lessons a few weeks ago, and I'm signed up for another one tomorrow or in a couple of days or so. But what I was trying to do is, when I got to that point of making those sounds, I was trying to control it and use some of my lyrics that I have for some of my songs.
mm-hmm.
And I was trying to do that, like I got a big old poster board with a bunch of lyrics wrote up at my house, so that when I practice my vocals, I got my lyrics right there to work on it with. But I'm working on my vocal journey. I'm getting a list of these people making bass metal music, and like that's something I can do. I used to not believe in myself. I used to think that it's just something you have or you don't. But then I realized it's something that you have to want enough to go out there and get lessons for and get good at and put the work in,
Yeah.
So that's something I'm working on. Even though I'm broke, but I'm still getting, if I had money, I'd be getting 3 lessons a week. Let's just put it that way. But since I'm broke, it's more like 1 lesson every couple of weeks or so. But once I get caught up on bills, hopefully that'll change. At least 1 lesson a week would be great. There's a handful of different vocal coaches I would love to work with. So go to the videos, click one over, because that's the shorts right there.
There are a lot of good coaches on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
that I found.
Yeah. The one that I'm working with is actually from YouTube. Can you scroll down a little bit?
Yeah, doesn't vocal training just feel incredible? Don't you just feel like you're like harnessing your life force energy?
Honestly, it's very inspiring because it's showing you that you can do certain things to train minute little things in order to get real noticeable differences. And really, that's been inspiring me because since I started my vocal journey, because my cardio is horrible, I haven't been healthy enough in the last 10 years. I haven't been working out or anything, and I feel it. So if I keep going down this road, I'm going to end up with COPD, and I'm going to end up, just fat and miserable for my last years, barely able to breathe, and I don't want that. Like you have to be able to look at the path you're on and look into the future where that will take you, and that's kind of what I'm doing. So my next 10 years, I want to totally change course of what I have been doing. And I just got some jogging shoes. I'm going to start actually jogging on my roads and shit. I prefer a treadmill, but I haven't had electric in like 8 years, and you kind of need electric for a treadmill. So until I get a treadmill, I'm going to be jogging on the fucking road. Just to increase my cardio. So what I'm saying is, working on my vocal journey has inspired me to go ahead and work on my physical fitness journey. You know, because the better my cardio is, the more I can sustain these notes for my vocal journey.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of watching everyone have fun without me, and I know I can do what they're doing, and add a different little thing to it, because okay, the modern what do you want to call it, trend of music has been going towards just mixing everything together, and that's what I like anyway. And I'm just going to mix the different styles together. Is part of the plan and stuff, but it's just one step at a time. And I do have another vocal coach session lined up for here in a couple of days or so. I'm waiting on Joe to get back to me from Bleg University. I'll go ahead and plug him, BLEGH University, and Joe's super cool. And like some of the I don't want to name them, but some of the vocal coaches are very proud of themselves, and they accept no less than $2,000 to even line up to talk to them about it. So, well, they'll talk to you about it for free, but they ain't going to give you no goddamn lessons for free until you put $2,000 down. And that's not something an average person can afford.
But yeah, man, that's the
yeah. This right here. But
full sports screen.
Well,
there's a lot more that we.
That's Joe from.
But you got
that's the basics. Yeah.
90% of the work,
go ahead and go out of here though.
Is knowing how to even make the stream. Like,
but yeah, that is Joe right there.
So just so you know,
well, this is the long video. I did have a short video where I got the best parts right there in the short. And you know what I'm saying? That's just him going over stuff with me. But yeah. So let's just scroll down here real quick. This is the shorts. Okay. Well, let's scroll down to the part I was with Joe. Keep scrolling. All right, hold that. Let me see here. Go back up a little bit. Or I'm sorry, scroll down a little bit. Hold up right there. Scroll down a little bit. I don't know. It's hard to see on the screen. Right there. On. Is it that one all the way on the left? It's going to read the print, but that one all the way on the left right there, is that it? I'm just asking you. I can't really read it. What does it say?
And anyway, I got up in there live, and I only really had like one burning question that I had to ask him, and he answered it.
That ain't it, but let it ride. This is good. That was talking about Matt Dillon. That wasn't it, but that was a good one. That was talking about Matt Dillon. He's an atheist, if you don't know him. But anyway, I don't want to dominate with that right there or anything. So I do have some like stuff and itinerary wrote up and shit. But I think hey, how you doing, Lou? What's up with you, Lou?
Hold on.
Because I know Lou had some fights he didn't want to miss.
You see me, right? Yeah, I do. I mean, I missed the first couple of opening fights.
And I hear you, brother.
So yeah, I'd like to get going because
I hear you, brother. Is there anything that you would like to add in closing, Queen Wortham?
Oh no. You know, I'm always out to have a good time. You know that, Dane.
No, absolutely. Hey, I appreciate you so much, bro. I couldn't have done none of this without you. I appreciate you because this is just practice. The Theology Council is going to keep happening because I'm going to make people listen to me. God damn it! You can't ignore me. I'm too fucking annoying. I learned how to weaponize my annoyingness.
When Queen was talking,
I'm too honest. I'm too annoying, and then I actually get some funny shit in there every now and then. People can't resist that. I was taught that by Jesse on Fire. He's a MMA channel, and he taught me how to weaponize my annoying nature. He does it all the time. because at first I didn't like him. I was annoyed by him, but then I kept watching because he made good points. And then he told me that was all part of his fucking plan, and I was like, "You son of a bitch, you got me." But then I'm like, "Wait, I can do that to other people." So then you also have Chael Sonnen, who taught me that it's okay to be the bad guy. Yeah. Chael Sonnen taught me it's okay to be the bad guy, and sometimes bad guys lie. No, if you follow the sport at all, you know. But Chael Sonnen's a good guy pretending to be bad. Then you got John Jones, that's a bad guy pretending to be good. It's a very interesting and delicious dynamic. I love it.
So,
what you going
I
on?
gotta go, but the altered state was extremely strong in the beginning of this video. So that was as altered as I've been in a while.
You're welcome, Lou. Hey, and thank you very much, Lou. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for showing up, Queen Wortham. I appreciate it. It's very nice to see you finally. We've been talking for over a year.
I'm gonna
so
go
it's nice to see you.
Look you up and subscribe so I could hear all about these
yes,
events.
and everyone subscribe to Brooklyn Lou, please. Brooklyn Lou has some of the funniest shorts that you will see from atheists on YouTube. He really does. He's got some super funny shorts. He makes very good points in his longer videos. And please subscribe to Queen Wortham. She is awesome. And I've been rolling with her for a year now. You know, I really have. And she goes over some stuff that a lot of the guys might not like, you know, because it talks about feelings and stuff. And guys don't like that. But I was raised by women, so I'm perfectly okay with talking about my feelings, you know?
I'm all with the feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm very good about talking about feelings, goddammit.
Yeah, it's a travesty of humanity that men have been told that they can't have feelings. It makes them all have heart attacks when they're older. Yeah. You know, like you can't stuff those down without hurting yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And I plan on doing some meditation sessions with you here soon. I'm sorry I missed that last one. I do live off grid, and my phone isn't charged all the time. You know what I'm saying? When that time came around, because Madam Wortham offered me to come join her on a meditation session, I didn't make it. But so I don't always have a charged phone when I want it right now. I've been off grid with no electric for 8 years. I'm working on getting some off grid electric systems set up. Until I do, I'm just been roughing it. I'm hard-headed like that. I made myself that promise years ago. Stuck fucking to it. And I've had rough times, but what I learned is you do not need electric to live. I mean, I charged my phone up at a friend's house down the road, and I've been doing that for years, but I'm about to be getting my own shit set up this year, hopefully. But thank you guys very much for showing up. I know you got to roll, Lou, but thank you for showing up, Queen Wortham. I am the brightest night, I'm the darkest light, and I am ascending, step into Dane's world. The dark light is on you. Thank you guys very much.
Yeah, bye-bye.